We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win so much.
Newcastle United fans, are you on the edge of your seats?
Boring.
From Kieran Trippier's brilliance,
I think, it's fair
to Newcastle being in talks to sign a complete midfielder,
Perfect.
to a potentially shocking move for Ivan Toney,
Wow! Wow! Oh, wow!
to the latest on the future of Joelinton and Hall, to Newcastle making a horrific decision on Yankuba Minteh's future that could change everything.
Oh, here we go again.
Let's go!
Starting off, congratulations to Kieran Trippier on winning the Football Writers Association Northeast Footballer of the Year Award 2023. Eddie Howe also paid him a tribute.
Well, I know John's had a few words. There's somebody else who has also been saying a few words to describe your impact and your time at St James's Park. If you just look to the monitor now.
Hi, Eddie Howe here from Newcastle. I just wanted to say what a fantastic choice you made in picking Kieran to be your player of the season. Kieran last year was absolutely outstanding in every phase of the play, whether that would be creating goals or helping us not concede. Not only that, he also led the team incredibly well during different moments of the season and was always an inspiration off it to help be a role model and guide our younger players as they progress their careers. So many congratulations to you, Kieran, fully deserved in my opinion. And I thank you to
Meanwhile, the man himself said,
you to have won the North East Football Writers Player of the Year.
Yeah, it means a lot. I feel like myself and the team had a good year. It's always special to pick up individual awards, and absolutely delighted.
Obviously, you joined the club when they were in the bottom three of the Premier League just over 2 years ago. How have you and the team sort of navigated those ups and downs that have happened in that time?
Yeah, we've had a lot of challenges since I've been here, but I think the team, everyone involved with the club have reacted well with those challenges, and it's been a good journey. We've played in a final, we've got in the Champions League, and avoided relegation that year, and everyone deserves huge credit, and especially the manager and the staff.
Yeah, how have they gone about getting the absolute best out of you right now?
I think the manager and the staff, they're unbelievable coaches. They want to improve every player, and I think it's fair to say everyone's seen that from every individual since he's took charge. So I know the manager well. I've worked with him before, and I know what he expects and demands, and he brings that first of all leadership, and tries to improve players.
This award's voted for by the North East Press Pack, the journalists. Win, lose or draw, you tend to speak to them when you need to. What's your relationship like with them?
Yeah, it's always been good. Even in moments when I've not been performing well, they've always stuck up for me. And I have a great relationship with the media, the press, and it's always important to give back, win, lose or draw. And you got to stand up in front of the cameras and try and be honest as you can.
Then moving on, according to the Telegraph, Newcastle United is on the verge of finalising a fresh contract with midfielder Joelinton, a development that would greatly benefit the club in anticipation of the upcoming summer transfer window. Joelinton's current deal will expire at the end of the season, prompting manager Eddie Howe to prioritise securing the Brazilian services before considering potential new signings. Amanda Staveley, one of the co-owners, has now taken charge of the negotiations, following her successful persuasion of Bruno Guimaraes to sign a long-term contract extension last year. Similar to Joelinton, Bruno's representatives initially displayed reluctance but eventually reached a productive agreement with Staveley directly involved in the process. With Dan Ashworth currently on gardening leave until the end of next year, the responsibility for talks has been entrusted to Staveley by Newcastle's board. Notably, she is also engaged in negotiations with Manchester United regarding a compensation package that would enable Ashworth to depart from his stipulated gardening leave period earlier. The Telegraph Sport disclosed last month that Newcastle is seeking approximately £20 million in compensation, although Manchester United is attempting to reduce this amount. Newcastle is insistent that Ashworth should have no involvement in Manchester United's summer recruitment. However, the club might consider allowing him to commence his new role before the end of the year if their Premier League rivals are willing to offer an appropriate financial settlement. Initially, there were concerns that Joelinton would decline a contract renewal due to dissatisfaction with the proposed terms. However, progress has been made since Ashworth expressed his desire to join Manchester United over a fortnight ago. Under Howe's guidance, 27-year-old Joelinton has emerged as a pivotal player. The manager successfully transformed him from a struggling centre forward into one of the Premier League's most dynamic and physically dominant box-to-box midfielders. Rather than focusing on securing potential replacements, Newcastle is presently operating under the assumption that Joelinton does not need to be sold, indicating their confidence in reaching a new contract agreement. With TalkSport further confirming that the club will offer a 4-year contract, his new salary is set to be well above £100,000. Sources close to the player have informed Telegraph Sport that Joelinton desires to continue his stay at Newcastle, and his rehabilitation is progressing according to plan.
Sign it! Go on, Chick! Sign it, Chick! Sign it! You signed it?
So,
Furthermore, according to the Eye, a reliable source within the club's inner circle, Newcastle United is contemplating the prospect of extending Yankuba Minteh's loan for a second consecutive season. The club demonstrated a meticulous approach to Minteh's initial loan, with a representative traveling to Rotterdam in advance to secure an apartment for him. They even measured the distance between the apartment and the club's training ground to ensure his focus remained solely on playing and training. Shola Amiobi, the loan coordinator, is known to regularly visit Minteh for face-to-face discussions with both the player and his coaching staff. Additionally, they maintain weekly contact with the 19-year-old, who possesses immense potential but is still considered a raw talent. Minteh's journey in the Netherlands has not followed a linear path. He started strongly, experienced a period of stagnation, but has recently regained excellent form, culminating in another influential performance on Sunday. Feyenoord's highly regarded head coach Arne Slot emphasized the need for patience in Minteh's development while acknowledging the promising signs he has shown. However, there have been encouraging indications that suggest positive prospects. He has huge potential. If he can learn to slow down his slow process a bit, he is going to be a fantastic player, says Martin Krabendam, Feyenoord correspondent for Voetbal International. Everyone loves him. He's so quick, he's so intuitive, but he also loves work, not just attacking, but also defensively too. The way Feyenoord is playing under this coach, it's very important that they put in that hard work, and he does that. I think it will be too early for Newcastle's first team next season because he has a lot still to learn, but if he continues to develop, he will be a fantastic player for the club in the long term. Although Newcastle is likely to assess Minteh during pre-season, another loan move to facilitate his growth appears to be the most probable option. Feyenoord is eager to secure his services for another season, but a move to the Championship is also a potential avenue. But tell me, do you think it is the right decision, or he is already prepared to play for Newcastle? Meanwhile, Newcastle know they can't afford to make many missteps in the transfer market, with scrutiny falling on their own season-long loan of Lewis Hall, who has played only 108 minutes of Premier League football this term. He has been an unused substitute for the last 6 matches, but is getting closer to triggering a permanent £28 million summer move. Club sources insist he remains a long-term project, but they may have to loan him out next season if he can't force his way into Eddie Howe's plans. Then, according to a report from the Chronicle's Lee Ryder, Newcastle United's head of recruitment, Steve Nixon, has been actively pursuing the signing of Ederson from Atalanta. The chief scout has been working hard over the last couple of months with a trip to Italy, where he was watching over Atalanta's Ederson ahead of a potential move. However, Ryder now states that Nixon has engaged in talks with the Serie A club earlier this year, aiming to give Newcastle an advantage in securing the Brazilian midfielder's services this summer. The report suggests that Newcastle is in a favorable position to sign Ederson, with the club expected to have significant funds available from their Champions League earnings and commercial agreements with Adidas. Ryder mentions that Newcastle is aware of Atalanta's financial demands and Ederson's salary expectations. The 24-year-old has been one of the standout midfielders in Italy this season, impressing with his energetic displays and contributing 6 goals. Interestingly, the same report also mentions that another Brazilian midfielder, Vinicius Souza, has been offered to Newcastle ahead of the summer transfer window. Souza, known for his tough tackling style, was signed by Sheffield United for £12 million last summer, but is expected to move on if the Blades are relegated. Souza is represented by the same agency as Bruno Guimarães, who Newcastle successfully negotiated a deal for, and Steve Nixon is said to have good connections with them. Then, Newcastle United is reportedly considering a surprising move for Brentford's star striker, Ivan Toney, in an attempt to rival interest from Arsenal and Chelsea, according to exclusive information from Team Talk. Toney, whose contract with Brentford is nearing its final year, has attracted significant attention from various clubs. Both Chelsea and Arsenal, two prominent London clubs, have identified the 27-year-old striker as a target. However, sources indicate that Newcastle is also a team to watch in the pursuit of Toney's signature. The Magpies are expected to sell striker Callum Wilson in the summer and are exploring potential signings to bolster their attacking options and strive for a return to the Champions League positions next season. Toney had a brief spell at Newcastle between 2015 and 2018, during which he made only 4 appearances before departing for Northampton Town. If he were to return to Tyneside, he could compete with Newcastle's star forward Alexander Isak. Chelsea has given serious consideration to acquiring Toney, primarily due to his Premier League experience and homegrown status, which make him an appealing option. However, sources indicate that the Blues are also interested in signing a younger striker alongside their primary target, Victor Osimhen of Napoli. Meanwhile, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta is keen to add an out-and-out number 9 to his squad as the team aims for a stronger push for the Premier League title in the 2024-25 season. Arsenal had contemplated making a bid for Toney in the January transfer window, but was unwilling to meet Brentford's asking price of £100 million at that time. Financing a move of that magnitude would have required significant player sales during the same window. Sources suggest that despite Brentford's attempts to offer Toney a new contract, it is expected that the English international will leave the club in the summer. Brentford has made it clear to Toney that he must either sign the new contract or be sold during the upcoming transfer window. The club has already secured an agreement to sign Club Brugge's Igor Thiago for approximately £30 million in the summer. Toney, represented by super agency ICM Stellar and experienced agent Jonathan Barnett, is eager to make a significant move as he enters the peak years of his career. He recently returned from an 8-month suspension for breaching the FA's player betting rules and has scored 4 goals in 8 appearances this season. Toney boasts an impressive record at Brentford, scoring 72 goals in 131 games across all competitions, including 20 goals in 33 Premier League matches last season. But tell me, can you see the striker returning to Newcastle United? Then finally, if you want to know the recent Sky Sports exclusive on Eddie Howe and Almiron's future, click the video link on screen now.